welcome to Lunch Therapy. Today is Interview Friday. Today is the day that we find an interesting individual and talk about what's inside their skull and all their experiences that they've had with their fleshy bodies out there in the fleshy universe called the world. Behind me is the Self-Realization Center. Some of our viewers, Guignelle and Katie Sweeney, went out there and experienced this. This is out in the Pacific Palisades. If you're in Los Angeles, you can go there. It's founded by the Yogananda, the author of the incredible book, Autobiography of a Yogi. I spaced there for a second. Hoity! Autobiography of a Yogi. Incredible book. You could read it all your life and never plumb its depths, I think. Mama J is trusting. Good to see you, Mama J. Hopefully Mama J is going to be on the show soon. She's been out there cruising for a bruising out there in the Bahamas. Is that where you were? I'm not sure. Anyway, Mama J is on the show a lot. She's a comedian. If you don't know her, she's on the show The Trust. This is a turtle behind me. We're going to get into this show very soon. Let's see. I just want to show you. I have a quote from the Yogananda. Let's see here. This is it. This is the Self-Realization Fellowship. And the quote is, "The soul is bound to the body by a chain of desires, temptations, troubles, and worries, and is trying to free itself. If you keep tugging at that chain, which is holding you to mortal consciousness, someday an invisible divine hand will intervene and snap it apart, and you will be free." Wow. That's some epic Shakespeare stuff there. Written by Murphy is here. Hello, Written by Murphy. Good to see you here. We've got an incredible clown, another clown whisperer, a clown extractor, a person that can get the clown out into the world because you've been hiding it since puberty, I believe. Just stuffed it back in there. Said, I can't be a child. Let's get into this thing called Lunch. I'm gonna get myself a modem. 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 Do tell, written by Murphy. I would love to hear more about your stagecoach that you're going to see. I believe it was a Western movie in the silent film era. I don't know. This is Portland's Sleestack. He's back on the prowl in Portland. I just wanted to point that out if you happen to go to Portland. Sleestack's got a new look. I was thinking, since we had Marty Croft on the show, he has since passed away, unfortunately, maybe we would have Sid Croft on the show as well, and maybe even the Portland Sleestack. So I just wanted to point that out. He's back on the prowl there in Portland. And we're getting on with the show. Just a few more announcements. Thank you to all the Patreons for patronizing the show, for being so patronizing. I appreciate it. This show couldn't happen without you. One of the things that I wanted to say about some of our Patreons is Pam Palmieri is having a comedy show in Ann Arbor, Michigan. It's happening tomorrow night. So if anybody's out there in Ann Arbor, tickets are $10. Get your ass over there. Check out these hilarious comedians. This is the first show that Pam has produced ever. She's a budding comedian, so get out there and support there. And then also, we have Richard Gaddis. Richard Gaddis is doing his show at the Saint and Sinner, which is in North Hollywood. Saint and Sinner, North Hollywood. It's happening tomorrow night. Get over there. He sings all kinds of Frank Sinatra and incredible songs. And it's his birthday, too. So there you have it. Let's just see. Stagecoach. It's the Country Coachella Concert Festival. Oh, that sounds like fun. I would like that. Hoi Guignol. All right, let's get into this thing. I'm going to bring Stefan on the show. Stefan Haves. He is, you're going to love this guy. Anyway, I'm going to get him on for the breath. We're going to breathe. Orpe Commando Friday. There he is. There you are. Wow. So great to have you on the show. I am so thrilled to have you on the show. I didn't do an introduction because I'm going to do that later. But first, we're going to breathe on the show. I'm not even going to let you talk. You can't even talk. You have to be just breathe because we're going to talk later. All right. No. Welcome to Lunch Therapy. I want you to say hi at least.
Hi, at least. And now I will be a silent wolf.
All right, be a silent wolf now while we breathe. All right, in through the nose, out through the toes. Hold it. Let it go. Second breath, in through the nose, out through the toes. Hold it. Let it go. One more breath in through the nose, out through the toes. Hold it. And let it go. Shake it out. That felt good. Felt good. Vernis Clear is here today. She's come all the way from Paris. She is the first female clown in the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus Clown College. So it's great to have her here. Silent clapping. All right, so one more thing we're going to do is we're going to listen to some handpan, and then we're going to get into the interview. Here we go. This is an unusual show in that we breathe and we listen to handpan at the beginning, which is like no other show in the universe, I don't think. So we've got that going for us. So this is Mystic Hong, plays the handpan. He is from Spain. Whatever the people tell us to do on this show, whatever they tell us to do. All right, thank you, Mystic Hong, for sharing that with us. Now it's time for Interview Friday. Okay. Stefan Haves. He is, I came across him when we were looking into David Bridell, who was on the show 2 Fridays ago, the founder of the clown school here in Los Angeles. Been really delving into the clown stuff and finding just all kinds of just incredible people. And Stefan is one of them. He took the journey from theater student. He was in a Ivy League school, theater program and just bailed out and took off to Paris, where he happened to run into one of the great clowns of our time, and worked with him. I mean, David Shiner, a long time ago, I saw David Shiner in Full Moon with Bill Irwin, and I mean, this guy's amazing. Then they worked together on Cirque du Soleil, where he has contributed, Stefan has contributed to 6 productions, including the renowned Cusa and Iris. But he also has this talent for actor coaching, and he's earned him roles on the Roseanne Show, and he's produced plays all over the world. And his pursuit of excellence took him to Europe to study under the master teacher Philippe Gallier, which we've talked about on the show before, the master clown / tyrant in Paris. You can find out about this here on the show, but also in this book, which is Stefan's book, The Power of Ha. I highly recommend this. It's an incredible book. Then he went on to work on the Tony Award-winning show, Full Moon, which I just talked about. And he also worked, he directed this thing called Teatro Zinzani, featuring Joan Baez. And apparently up in Seattle, they had a tent that you would go see this incredible show. Anyway, we're going to get him on the show. He has a TED Talk. He's actually taught in India and also directed in China. He teaches people basically how to get out of their own way. When they get up in front of people, this is anybody. This is in India, they were students at the Indian Institute of Technology. And a lot of them were very, very closed off, and a lot of them were, not used to public speaking. And he got them up on their feet clowning, and it transformed their lives. So that's just a piece of what this guy's all about. Let's get him on the show. Without further ado, maybe I'll let him talk this time. This is Interview Friday.
The biggest liability that a performer has is having a great plan, thinking they got it all together, and then when they get on stage, they run out of gas, and everything locks up. The body locks up, the emotions lock up, and you're not expressing in the moment because you're not open to the public. At that point, you're not like you are in life. In life, you're porous. You can move, you can adjust, but on stage when you're like that, the audience looks at you as an amateur. Class starts with diagnostic. The diagnostic part is seeing what locks and blocks you. After that, we're going to put you on stage and we're going to do all the fun kind of prompts and exercises, and you're going to be tested on when that stuff locks and when it's not blocked. After that, we're going to give you some coaching and some notes where I compassionately and supportively help you. So then you can step on any stage anywhere in the world and you can be the authentic you.
Thank God. Thank God you're here.
Oh gosh, I gotta tell you, it's good to see you. And thanks for letting me breathe.
Oh, you. Good. I'm so glad. Do you feel good now? Does it help?
Yeah, well, the one thing that all clowns have in common is we have authority issues. So when someone tells me I have to breathe, I get a little, what would I say, resentful, but then I let it go.
That's good. What about when people tell you can't talk and you're on an interview show?
Wow.
That's frustrating. That's frustrating. Damn it. That's why we breathe, and that's why we listen to the handpan, so we can learn how to let these things go. And
but it's funny because I'm in Las Vegas right now, and it was great to see the Self-Realization Fellowship because I live about a mile from that place, and that has been an altar to
even when I got into Cirque du Soleil, I went to that self-realization fellowship, and I went to the little chapel, and I'm like, I really have to do the next thing in my life. And then I got the call to work with Cirque. So that's a very
Wow.
special place for me.
That's so
Um,
cool.
yeah.
Sometimes there are things on the show that link, and I don't even know they're going to link. You know what I mean? And there it
Right.
is. There's another one. That's the magic. That's
And then the India trip, I made friends with the head of the Hare Krishnas in Mumbai,
yeah,
a Jew from Chicago named Radhanath Swami.
yeah,
And
yeah.
if you want the best pizza in Mumbai, go to the Hare Krishna temple because Govinda has the best pizza oven, and it's got
Really?
Chicago pizza. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Wow. Good to know. Good to know. When I've gone to India, which I've gone several times, I always am craving a sandwich because there's no sandwiches. Maybe if you can tell me a good sandwich place in Delhi, that'd be good too.
Right.
They just
And it's
don't eat
called
sandwich.
Delhi.
I know. I know. I think that's why I start to think I'm hungry. Why am I so hungry for a sandwich?
Oh yeah, I'm in Delhi.
I'm in Delhi. Oh, that's right. I want a pickle.
Where's the coleslaw? I'm in Delhi.
So you're in Vegas now? Are you working with Cirque du Soleil now?
Yeah, I'm not working with Cirque du Soleil per se, but
Yeah.
I am working with Cirque du Soleil artists. I
I
come
see.
here and I just did a 2-day act creation class in which the only prompt I gave them was come out on stage and breathe.
Really? Could they do it?
After the brain stopped working so hard at being
Yeah.
perfect, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I have been, I don't know, thrown into the clown world. When I started, I mean, I've always been interested in clowns. When I grew up, JP Patches was the clown in our city in Seattle that everybody watched on TV. All of us little kids watched him. But later on, I saw Bill Irwin and David Shiner in Full Moon, and that was mind blowing to me. And then Cirque du Soleil, I was just like, I was in theater school, I think, when I first saw like Cirque du Soleil, and I was like, what am I doing? These people are just, what the hell? This is just so much like through the stratosphere theater that it was really, kind of daunting in a way. But on the show now, we've had Joel Jeske on the show. We had Vernis Clear on the show. We've had David Bridell and also David Arquette, who seems to be jumping into clowning as well. And I have found this whole clown community going on in Silver Lake and Atwater Village and all that. Can you tell us, is there a clown like boom right now?
I would say there is for very, very good reasons. It's different for me because I used to be one of the only clown teachers in Los Angeles, and now there's actually an embarrassment of riches.
There is, isn't there? Yeah.
Yeah, and any Starbucks you go to, some kids will be like, "Oh my God, I'm going to a clown class, and I can't believe da da da." Like
Yeah.
it's part of the normal world now. Now, if I want to go macro on it, which I like doing,
Mm-hmm.
there's an absolutely appropriate reason that it's happening,
Hmm.
and that is because improv comedy. I mean, I was teaching improv comedy in the '90s in LA for a decade,
Yeah.
and I was in the stand-up comedy, improv comedy world when Robin Williams was in an improv group called Off the Wall, and he was performing at Comedy Store West, and the Improv. So he would be at 4 different venues in one night, just
Really?
doing his thing. And and then him and John Ritter were both in an improv class,
Mm-hmm.
the Lembeck class, and they were a little older than me, but then they got their sitcoms because improv was everywhere, and so there was the golden age of improv comedy in LA and comedy in general, where you could see in the same night at the Comedy Store, you could see Billy Crystal, Johnny Carson, Steve Martin, Martin Short, all just performing, Jay Leno, anybody who you would imagine, and they were just part of the evening. And then in another room, there were all the improv comedy people. So then the Hollywood said, "Hey, this is how we're going to do sitcoms," and so they did sitcoms around improv comedy people. So the problem is today, then go 30 years forward, and comedy has become more tribal in that I can't be a mutable Caucasian who can do dialects and pretend to be of different ethnicities, because that we want it's a time of expansion and growth, and so that actually can't be done anymore, that crossover. So what you see is it's a Latin night, it's a queer night, and we as somebody who was in another historical time, I can't go, "Oh, I remember the good old days. Get off
Right.
my
You have to
lawn."
move forward. Yeah. Get off
You
my
have to
lawn,
move
kids.
forward. And so part of that moving forward is realizing that the actual improv matrix isn't there. And why does clown come in now? Is because it's not political, because everything is like the Civil War now. You don't want to disrupt like what's happening. You can do comedy for your friends, but what happens with people who are not from your political persuasion?
Yeah.
So clown gets it to be, who's the enemy in clown? Gravity.
Well,
And
one of the things I've noticed with the clowning is that it is extremely interactive with the audience, more so than anything that I can think of, because it's the clown actually checks in with the audience all the time, like to see how it's going. What do you think about that? Is it more interactive than the other theater arts with the audience?
hell yeah,
Yeah,
it better
really
be. Or else it's not going, or else there's no tension.
Yeah.
Basically, what I say is, what's the difference between a comedic actor or an improv character and a clown? What would you say is the difference, Joel?
I would say that the clown is, that the clown fails, and I think the clown fails more. That's what I would say. He's like open to failing more.
Okay, that's interesting. And what happens when we fail? We experience our own shame.
Yeah.
What happens when we experience our own shame? We contract.
We get
And
out of the spotlight. Get out of the spotlight. Yeah, can you
we
speak
want
to that? What about shame and clowning, and what's different about a clown?
Yeah, but before I talk about that, I want
Yeah.
to talk about the difference between a comedic actor and a
Oh
clown.
yeah, you're
And
gonna
then-
tell me. Yeah, tell me. Don't ask me. I don't know. You're the expert.
No, you're setting up our sequence.
Okay. Okay.
So the difference between the comedic actor is they have the conceit of a who, what, and where.
Oh.
So if I do an act, I'm in the White House and I'm the president, and I'm like, and the Secret Service comes in and goes, "Mr. President, there's a bomb in the next room. You have to get out of here." So the audience, we have a shared hallucination. Oh, we're all pretending there's a bomb. Oh, so now I would do object work. I would pick up a phone and go, "Hello, honey, there's a bomb in the next room." And everybody's going, and I would call that the net.
Yeah.
The who, what, and where is this net that makes everything easy peasy.
Yeah.
Take away the net, the clown comes out on stage, and instead of the conceit of the who, what, and where, He just comes out on stage, and in 20 seconds, the audience either hates or loves him or her or they based on their own instrument of comfort.
Detection. Oh, comfort. Mm.
Now, yes. And then all of a sudden, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, you hear the tick tock. And then he looks at the audience, and there is a bomb in the audience there. Is it a real bomb? He picks it up. What's going to happen next? Oh, he goes over to an audience. He breaks the fourth wall and goes to the audience. Now he gives it to the audience member. That tension of as if it is happening for the first time is the difference between a clown and a comic improv performer.
But what about a stand-up?
Stand-up, you have basically that's another whole thing. But the best stand-ups use the who, what, and where, and whatever the heckler says, he can make that part of his act. So he is playing it, but his structure is jokes. If he goes in and does performance art as a stand-up comedian, they aren't going to like it. I have an act which I won $10,000 on America's Funniest People. I flip over and his name's Batman.
Can we show it?
Yeah, sure.
All right, let's take a look at it.
And then I'll tell you. Yeah.
So weird.
Okay, yeah, we can go.
All right,
Yeah.
we're going on. I think that's hilarious. They love it. The reason I kept it going is because there's one point where a crowd member yells out, "Take off your hat!"
Right.
I thought I was going to get to that part, but I didn't get to it. But I mean, talk about audience interaction. They were loving it. That was Germany, right?
Yeah, that was Germany, the Winter Garden with David Shiner.
Really?
And that was when I was younger. So it was a 6-7 minute act. When I did it on my 60th birthday, it was only about a minute and a half. And later on, he writes. So he gets a pen and he writes. Yeah. So, but I did that after coming back from Paris. I went to Bud Friedman's improv and I auditioned for him, ending with Backman. And he told me, this place really isn't for that. Oh. So,
this is the improv.
So the reason I bring that up is because the difference between a clown and a stand-up, and you and I have a good friend, Greg Dean, who's great at constructing jokes. And I tell those who want to learn clown but cross over to stand-up, I go, the joke is the thing, and you have to love telling the jokes. Yeah. How you tell the jokes can be very clowny. The form can be clown, but the content has to be joke driven.
Yeah, weren't you? I mean, recently I've been watching like the Steve Martin biography, who was like a huge, inspiration to me when I was a little kid. But he seems more like a clown than a stand-up at times, right?
He is a one-man vaudeville show.
Yeah, yeah, and it's interesting to see how that develops because as a kid, you just see the guy, and as a kid, it's just hilarious, all the stuff that he did. But you see how it developed out of he worked at a magic shop, he was at the Birdcage Theater, and at Knott's Berry Farm, and he was around a bunch of vaudevillian type people and magicians and such, and that act
Right.
just kind of grew out of that. But it doesn't have the traditional joke telling structure a lot of the times, and a lot of it is very physical. But Robin Williams as well, very physical. Would you say he was a clown as well?
I would say he was able to do the hybrid of clown and stand-up. However, when I was a kid, and I say this in the book, I stalked him to the 4 shows that he did a night.
Yeah.
And he did this same 30, 35 jokes, but they would come out of mistakes. So a waitress would drop all the glasses and then he would say the joke there. It was how he found the setup different every time, made it seem like it was off the cuff. And that was the
Yes.
brilliance of him.
When you work with performers, a lot of times, like in that video that we saw, you're trying to get them kind of out of their own way so that they can be themselves as authentically as they can on the stage. What do you usually do to make that happen? And I'll ask you the other question later, but what do you usually do to get somebody to kind of come out of their shell?
Okay, you kind of touched on it a little bit. First of all, I'm not I don't teach anything. My job is to allow you to remember, because we were all brilliant performers before puberty. And it doesn't matter. It could be you and your best friend jumping up and down on a bed when you were 7 years old, going over and over, rehearsing some stupid thing. I remember one of my favorite things was diving in the summertime off the diving board in funny ways over and over again.
Right. Tripping.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
right. Still love that too.
And the mom just being totally bored with, look at this one.
Yeah, right.
It's like that one's really different from this one. It's like,
Right.
it's like, what am I doing? But
Yeah.
but the thing that's amazing about it is the self-esteem and the joy of just playing with your own instrument and finding all the variations. So basically, people come into my clown class, and so I'm here to help you remember when you were frickin' brilliant, because we were all brilliant. And what is brilliance? What is brilliance? It's freedom.
Yeah.
Unfettered freedom of expression. And we all had that at a certain time. So
What happened?
I
What
marvel.
happens to us? Do you think? I mean, do you know? Why?
Absolutely. Puberty.
Do you mean the biological puberty, or do you mean just trying to become an
Yes.
adult?
When you are 12 years old, your body starts changing. The zits happen. The voice lowers. For the women, the body is changing, and they or maybe it's not changing. I was really late in puberty. So it was while the other boys were bigger and hairier, I was just a little dork. And I remember one time being with my friends, and I was like, we were in a park, and I'm like, hey, look, there's the boat. And they're like, yeah, Stefan, why don't you go play on the boat? Let's go. And I was like, really? And they're like, yeah, we'll play on the boat. You're going to come with me? Mm-hmm. And I remember running to the boat, getting up on it, turning around, and the other 13, 14-year-old boys were laughing at me. And I remember getting off that boat and walking back to them saying, I'm never going to pretend about a boat again.
Wow.
And then we make it through middle school, barely. And then you find the other drama dorks in high school who are going, oh, I remember when imagination was my friend. I'm going to bring it back. And so So, and it's the same thing when you perform. Like when you're doing stand up and you see one guy with his,
Mm-hmm.
with his arms crossed and kind of looking at you like, what's your problem?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you got a couple of choices in that moment, Joel. You can, one might be, oh, that's like my dad not liking what I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I shouldn't be up here.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one, which I do now when I see that guy, is, oh, poor guy. I wonder when he left his inner child.
Yeah.
Wonder when how long he's had an absence of playing in his life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's tragic for him. And now I'm going to feed off of the people who are going, oh my goodness, we can play together for 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm. You talk about the first time you saw David Shiner in Paris, and the way he breaks the fourth wall is almost like, seems like it's almost dangerous at times. Or, you describe this thing where he's like, whoa, why'd you push me? Like whatever. And then like nobody pushed him, but he's like going, stop pushing me. And then he like pushes the person back, and then they actually get into like a real pushing match.
Yeah.
What kind of line is that he's crossing, and how does he manage that? And how does a clown manage that kind of thing? Because it happens to comedians as well. And, when they get into a thing with somebody in the audience.
The nicest thing is the 80s was a non-litigious decade. The first half was. So people were not, if someone was mad at him, they would just tell him they were mad at him. It wasn't like, ow, oh, I'm going to do something to you. So the consequences were different. However, I call what David did, he was a busker on the streets of Paris.
Mm-hmm.
And I call what he did a circle of love.
I love what you said about it.
Are we starting to?
What?
Yeah, it was, yeah,
You're good.
I'm kind of freezing on my side.
Okay.
I don't know
on
if
this
you're
side,
fine.
you look great.
Cool. I feel good. Darn it.
You look
Okay.
damn
Thank you.
good. It's great.
Yeah.
So a circle of love, so that people feel
Yeah, that
like
means
they're included in something and they're taken care of, essentially. And you said even like homeless people would come in there and they would get included. Everybody was included in this thing.
Yeah, but he also knew, the thing is, David was a bit of a brawler in his gut.
Yeah.
So if someone was going to take that safe container and not make it safe with their own ego or with their own not being on their meds as a homeless person, he knew how to handle those folks too and keep the circle safe for everybody. Everybody knew it was pretend, but that's the important thing. It's like he would pretend that the guy hit him.
Yeah.
He would do it again. He'd take his hat off and he would just start pummeling the guy.
Yeah.
So the actual act of not a Marcel Marceau precious mime, but a mime who could fight back, who included his own rage from being a human, was just so catharsis. The catharsis was so extraordinary that the laughter was so deep. Like it was so deep. It was healing everybody, It was phenomenal.
I remember seeing him in, I guess maybe Saltimbanco or something a long time ago.
Nouvelle Experience.
That was it. Okay. And he was doing that same thing with this, audience of, I've got a little clip here. I'm going to just show a little bit so people can see what's going on with it.
Perfect.
So this is them on Leno. So I'll cut to it here. This is him and Bill Irwin. I better start it here because the dancing in the beginning is just unbelievable. And the two of them complement each other, it seems.
Yes, what I would say about the two of them, they're the perfect combination because Bill is all structure and David is all flow. So you have the structure of putting acts together was a science for Bill.
Yeah.
And for David, He was like, just let me get out in front of the audience and the flow will make it funny.
Look at
So
him
there
with
was more danger
yeah,
in David's work,
yeah.
but there was more kind of beauty and like kind of nuance with Bill's work.
And yeah. And Bill sometimes is like holding him back, like, come back here, whatever. I just want to show
Well,
this one.
you always, yeah.
I want to show this, how crazy it gets. Look at him with Leno. I mean, he is just like, he's on his back. And then Roseanne Barr is over here too. And it's just, I mean, the amount of confidence and skill that he'd have to have. So here's Roseanne Barr. Let me see if I can get to that part. He like jumps on her. He's like wrestling her on the ground. I mean, the amount of trust that they must have with these guys, because they're having a great old time. But it could have gone really wrong. What if he injured her? You know what I mean? Like,
no, but you know what? In Full Moon, there's David just had the capacity to completely disarm people, and he physically he touched you, and you like he's talk about I with hand with your beginning and everything.
Yeah.
David Shiner meditates 2 hours a day, starting at 4 a.m.
You're kidding me.
And and he spent a lot of times with his master in India. So you're talking about a holy man in the street who knows how once he touches somebody, they just relax. I mean, when I saw him, I knew that I went to Paris because I wanted to study comedy, and I dropped out of the MFA program because it's like I wasn't a generalist. I just wanted to do physical comedy. And when I saw him, I stalked him.
Yeah.
I said, I saw him in Paris, and he's like, I go, well, I'll see you tomorrow, because I was doing a really bad juggling act as a young guy with a buddy of mine. And then I'm like, hey, you going to be here tomorrow? He's going, no, I'm going down to the Avignon Festival. I go, so am I. And I talked to my partner who was missing his girlfriend in LA, and I ended up chasing David down to Avignon, and I saw him with my backpack, and I walked up and go, hey, good act. And he's going, where are you staying? I go, oh, I don't know, at the campground across the street. And I ended up staying with David, and I became witness to his genius every night that he performed.
That must have been incredible. So then you became a director also of clowns for Cirque du Soleil and many other things. Can you tell us a little bit? I mean, you talk about it in the book, and I highly recommend this book because it's so inspiring to anybody, that anybody, a person who's trying to give a PowerPoint presentation at work, anybody, people hosting their podcast shows, a teacher, whatever. There's so many insights in this, and you go through a lot of the stuff that we're talking about, and there's a heck of a lot more in here. Like even there's even an emergency room doctor that talks about what it's like to take clowning and how it's helped her. But the thing is, how do you shape the show? You got all these clowns, and how do you create a show? Like, if you were going to create a show for one clown or for many clowns, how would you begin?
The way I state it is, you give me the ingredients, I'll bake the cake.
Yeah. Wow. So how do you find the ingredients? Even just have them get on stage and do the thing?
Well, it doesn't matter if it's kids I put a play together with in juvenile hall, in Cirque du Soleil, in an elementary school. It does not matter. However, the clown's work, or the clown's brain that I have here, is I got nothing until I see what the ingredients are. The ingredients are the artists. It could be 5 stand-up comedians. And I would go, okay, I have to mine. First, I have to see how you are in terms of your instrument on stage. And I break down the instrument into the body, voice, speech, and imagination. That's all you got. Okay. So when I give notes, I'm not telling you you're a good performer or a bad performer. I'm isolating that down into your adrenaline is preventing your body from being free, or your voice to be loud enough, or your imagination is freezing up. When prepubescent, it never froze up. Imagination was your job.
Yeah.
I got to go outside and play, Mom. That's right. That's your freaking
That's what
job.
you do. Yeah.
Yeah. So all of a sudden, play becomes complicated for us adults
Yeah.
instead of remembering when we were awesome at it.
How do you simulate the performance experience in the rehearsal, though? Because there's no audience there. Or maybe there is. I don't know.
Well, it depends. Once again, I don't do structure first. I find out where our I have to do an evaluation of body, voice, speech, and imagination of whoever I'm working with and how they work in front of people. And so I, on purpose, make them nervous to see how the body, voice, speech, and imagination start to I don't know what to do next. Nothing's here. Oh, okay, good. So your imagination is dried up. Great. Okay, now I know what to do with that. And so then
what do you do if their imagination dries up because they get nervous about, something that you said? Or I know that you work.
How do you begin your show? How do you begin your show?
How do I begin my show? Breathing. Yeah.
How do I begin my class?
Breathing. Yeah.
How do I begin my rehearsal? Breathing.
Really?
Because it is breath is the only unifier of the here and now. I don't have to trauma bond about you when you got humiliated when you were at 13. I don't have to think about how scared you are about the show that's going to be in 2 weeks. The only thing that matters is the here and now. And once you forget, so basically there's this, which is your mind, which is fear. And then there's another whole ecosystem, which is based, which is body intelligence. I got to get you out of the mind, into the body, and then logic, simplicity, and humor will sprout.
It's interesting because you said that you were in India and you were talking to those students, and there was one student who couldn't articulate. In fact, everything he said was a question, even if it was his name. And you were like, how do you turn up the volume? And you hand them a phone, and they're like, they turn up the volume on there. So how do you turn up the volume of this? And they didn't know. And you're like, you breathe. You've taken a breath. And I thought that was so great. And it's something that anybody can do at any moment in time. Like I can take a breath now.
You can't do it. No, but wait a minute. The truth of it is, Joel, you can't do it at any moment in any time, because that which you are addicted to as a performer, which is adrenaline, is also cripples you.
Yes, it's a paradox.
It is going in both directions, like the Pisces sign. So you are screwed at the same time that you are elated.
Yes. Vernon said, let me just say what Vernon said here. Fritz Paris said, fear is excitement without breath. It's kind of interesting.
I like that. Yes.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me so there's this paradox. And also sometimes I think performers, we want to watch them because they have all this energy. And sometimes the energy seems to be coming from their adrenaline. How do you address that?
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about adrenaline.
Okay.
Adrenaline. Why do you think you love being on the spotlight? What happens to you when you get that spotlight on you?
You get attention.
Yeah.
You also get a little bit
what is it that you personally?
Oh, me personally?
You personally.
It's thrilling. It's thrilling because you.
What
put
is
yourself,
thrilling about it?
What is thrilling is you've put yourself in a dangerous situation, and now you got to get out of it.
What
And
is the danger? You're not going to die. You're not going to hurt
danger is
yourself.
you're going to make an utter fool out of yourself, or you're going to be publicly shamed. Because
Okay,
it's like, that guy
absolutely.
sucks. Oh my God. He's
Okay,
not even a comedian. Yeah.
So you are, and I am, and all the people who are probably listening to this podcast are all addicted to possible public humiliation and the fact that we fooled them again.
It's so true. I tell you, before I go on stage, sometimes the little voice in my head goes, okay, I'm going to save you this time, but never again. Don't put yourself in this situation again. And then you go up and sometimes you kill. And then afterwards you're like relieved. Like you have all this energy of relief.
That's better than the laughs in the moment, is that you survived.
Survived. Yeah.
It's survival. We are parkour. We are hardcore athletes, but our freaking domain is stage, lights, possible public humiliation, which is an archetypal, which is an archetype of fear to be excommunicated by culture.
Mm.
It is there. It is a real thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the problem with someone like me who's, hey, do you want to do a show with us? How many people are in the house? 60. Oh, gosh. The possible public humiliation isn't enough. I need to do
enough.
I need 1,500 people.
Need more juice.
To go, oh, what's his problem? That wasn't funny. Oh, my God, the clown didn't work.
I need that many people.
So I'm telling you, it's like I am totally addicted to the challenge of covering my butt.
Don't you get that also directing things too? Because of the opening night is just coming like a freight train, and all of a sudden things get real serious towards the end there.
Oh yeah, and there's nobody hated more than the clown and the comic act designer a week before a show opens, because everybody else is getting better. Yeah. Their costumes are here. They're up in the air. Their rigging is working. Yeah. They're beautiful. And the clown has been showing the same jokes for 3 weeks without an audience.
Wow.
So the producer goes from going like, "Hey, funny man, come, let's have a beer," to the week before I walk by him and he just looks down like he's not looking at me, like this guy doesn't know what he's doing.
Oh my God.
Then the beauty is on the other side when the audience, I have a hallucination in my brain. I have this and I have I'm lucky that things that I see in the room, I'm going to go, this will land with the public. And my hunches have an incredibly high percentage of things landing. So once the audience is there, they are laughing everybody's relieved. And then they go, oh my God, but nobody is more hated than me, like in a multi-million-dollar show.
You talk about it in this book when you talk about Cirque du Soleil, that you talk about it like a little bit like maybe you were somewhat of a tyrant. Is that possible?
I was a tyrant? Of course.
I was waiting for you to say, me? No, I wasn't a tyrant.
Of course I was a tyrant.
Was.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about clowning if you want to talk a little bit about clowning.
Let's talk about it.
Clowning is nothing without the notion of status. Mm-hmm. Clowns are lower status, but they need to play against somebody. Mm-hmm. Okay?
Yeah.
That's somebody. So I am, in the old days, they called it, and I'm sure we're going to try to find another word for it, but there's the white clown who has the white face, and then the red clown has the red nose. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and the red.
I like how you have one right there. You have a red nose right there.
Yeah. I thought that was important.
Yeah.
Because it is a visual art form.
Yeah.
And some people are bored by me talking. So anyway.
Yeah.
That.
So you got the white face clown, you got the red clown.
You got the white face clown. but and what the audience wants to see is the audience wants to see the red clowns overtake the white dickhead,
Oh, yeah.
the guy who is not nice. So I think of myself as a substitute teacher in junior high, and the clowns in my class are like the students.
Yeah.
So me being angry, it is not a personal anger. It is to give them an obstacle for them to have adjustments to go around. And the adjustments that the clown takes around the obstacle, which is the dickhead white clown, is what makes him brilliant or not so brilliant. So, and then we can talk about it afterwards and say, what kind of strategies did you do against me? What was that about? So we don't personalize like, oh, I was a bad clown. I'm different than a lot of clown teachers in that I don't glorify the flop, and I don't want you to feel bad about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to actually, I'm not here to trauma bond with you about why you can't relax into the body, voice, speech, and imagination.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not here to kind of indulge the adrenal glands that make you terrible on stage because your body won't move right, you don't have any ideas, and you're speaking too quietly. Those things can all change if you let the child within come out, because we all have it.
Yeah.
And people say to me, one of the favorite things that people say to me is they're going, God, I love coming to your class because it's great that I can be crazy. And I'm like, crazy? You know who's crazy? All the civilians who actually quell this.
Yeah.
Who that they get sick with cancer and heart attacks and everything. For you to be able to be free with your expressive nature is health. So you don't come to a clown class to be crazy. You come to a clown class to be authentic.
I want to talk to you about the practice of clowning. So people who do a lot of clowning, it's like a practice, right? I mean, like a meditation practice, or is there a daily practice that someone who is a full-on clown does by themselves? I don't know. It seems weird.
No, actually,
it's a personal question.
No, it's not. It's like I just told you, or I preface this whole clown thing that we have trouble with authority.
Yeah.
And so if I have a classroom of clowns, my job is not to give them a practice. If they see, the thing is, a variety performer goes into a show, and it's different than an actor. There are two kinds of performers. I work and I train what I call performer creators, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Then there are actor interpreters, okay? Actor interpreters, good dogs. Good dog, good dog.
Right.
Oh, good. Yeah, I learned the lines, right? Yeah. Oh, Mr. Playwright, I'm going to be respectful of you, right? Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Oh, you're really good. And quite frankly, I wish I was a good dog. I would be more rich now. I would make more money now.
Yeah.
Because of my own personal trauma, and I can talk about that in the lunch therapy, I did not trust older men, women, or even plants. I didn't trust anything. So for me to want the appreciation of an authority figure, me doing a television show and the director doing it and the producers going, great, good job, like this. And I'd be like, oh God, how can I screw this up? That's what I would be like. Inside of me, I'm ready to screw it up. And so my body, voice, speech, and imagination don't work, and I get tense. Okay? So I teach and it even happened on, remember the movie
Love that story.
RoboCop?
Oh, RoboCop. Yeah, of course. Classic film.
This is okay, classic film. I went up for it with Paul Verhoeven, who also did Showgirls.
Yeah,
So that's
yeah, of
kind of fun.
course.
So Paul Verhoeven, I go up for the part that and I go in and I'm just so amped as a clown. And the thing
Yeah.
is I wasn't really successful because I have the I have the look of a leading man because I was adopted and my birth dad was on the Big Valley. He was a TV
Oh,
cowboy.
really? Wow.
So
Cool.
my background should be um, good dog in the
Yeah.
studio system.
Yeah.
But because I was adopted and didn't trust any human beings, including myself,
Yeah.
I didn't take direction very well. So I remember doing this Paul Verhoeven audition, and I'm just crazy, and then I fall on a certain thing, and everybody's cracking up, and I come back for the callback, and they set up a barbell for everybody who auditioned to fall at
Oh,
that same
really?
time.
Really?
But what did I do?
Yeah, you didn't
How
do
can
it.
I screw it up?
Yeah.
I like I got tight. I didn't want mommy and daddy to love me. I
So
wasn't
interesting.
worthy. And so what I did was how are you going to screw it up, Stefan? And I did ultimately. So
I know that
so I
feeling. I
realized
know
that
that feeling that you're talking about. I don't know what my excuse is for having that feeling, but I do. I identify with that. There was
there
also
is no yeah,
there
go on.
there was also that moment where you were on the stage on that film that you talk about in the book, where you were feeling tense like that, and you were just supposed to deliver the shellfish or whatever to Diane Lane, somebody, Cheryl Ladd or somebody,
Right.
and the
Right.
director put his hand on your back and just said, "We got this," or he said, "Let's
Yeah.
do this," and it
Yeah.
totally relaxed you.
Yeah, I was ready to be fired. I was ready to be I was creating that whole crazy
Yeah, it
dynamic
all happens within
in
you,
my
and
own.
then the adrenaline comes, and you're just it's and everyone else becomes far away. you know?
Yeah, because you talk about fear of possible public humiliation.
Yeah.
I wanted to leave being ostracized on that set. There
Yeah.
was something inside of me that needed to fail, that
Wow.
would say, oh, yes, I am a non-worthy adopted kid who
Wow.
doesn't belong in any family or work situation. So I wanted to replay trauma with that guy. And thank God that guy
Didn't want
looked
to
at a
play.
kid and said, right. And once he touched me,
Yeah.
it's what I was talking about. I got out of the fear in the brain, went down to the body intelligence, met a fellow soul in
Yeah.
that moment.
Yeah.
And I was able to say, would you like the shellfish?
Yes, and
Because
it's
that's
I'm
all I
sure
had
it's
to
beautiful. I'm
say.
sure it's a beautiful scene. Now that's
How could
I
you?
mean I totally understand this though, and I think any performer, especially actors who've been on really big sets like that, where there's a lot of money and there's a lot of crew and there's a lot of people, and you just have to go in and hit like one thing. Like you don't live there. You're just going to go in and do that one thing, and it becomes monumental. Is there a way you can put your own hand on your own back in that situation?
Well, first of all, we go into I'm freewheeling here.
Yeah.
We go into this performing arts venture to be loved,
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
be accepted,
Mm-hmm.
and for people to think we are enough.
Yeah.
We would like to be genius. We would like to be, but if we're enough, if we survived possible public humiliation, we're going to replay that one.
Yeah.
Um, so ultimately, what it comes down to is what do we have in common with all the other artists? It's not my ego for people to like me, although that is important to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And it is important to me too. But
Yeah.
ultimately, I want to tell stories. You want to tell stories in your stand-up. I want to tell stories visually with clowns, but I could write a song and it would be the same thing.
Yeah.
I want to be seen. I want to be seen. So when I look at, so my job is, I call myself a clown whisperer in a way, because I am going to take all of, like, how are you going to screw it up? I'm looking at a fellow performer creator who has had to rebel against everybody. Oh, Johnny's a clown. How old is Johnny? 42?
Yeah, right.
Nobody. That is like horrible. But that's because Johnny doesn't want to play in the sandbox with all the normal kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because of trauma, or because of something that has occurred in your life, or DNA, I don't know, you're not normal.
Yeah.
So you celebrate that. But what you are doing it for a very good reason, and you find like-minded souls. So when those people in a Cirque du Soleil show go up with their piece and they're tight and everything, that's me. And I have to make him or her better, or they better, because that makes me heal. It is a healing art form. Clowning is about acceptance of who you are, what prevented you from being free, making fun of that, but also vanquishing it.
Do you think that you have to identify it, or do you think you just move forward and out-create it, the thing that is causing you to have that tightness?
Everybody has their own operating manual. And my job is, and my job is to go, this person wants just a hand on their back. That's enough.
Yeah.
Oh, this person needs to go back to the moment they got tense. Okay, I can talk to them, and I can be mutable with whatever the person needs.
It's different for
But
everyone.
all I know, like for instance, I just had a class, and there was a guy, very just very reserved guy.
Yeah.
And I just wanted him to scream like Sam Kinison. And for those of you who don't know Sam Kinison, you can look him up. But anyway, I just wanted him to do that. And when he did that, after he did it, you saw his face going, oh my God, like there was a freedom, and the whole audience dilates with him in that moment. So it's not only the scream, it's the how it makes your flow totally mutable. And now I can go in any direction. So
I love that. I love that. We're at the hour. We have to end the show, unfortunately. So much interesting. This is such an interesting discussion with you. I could talk to you all day. How can people, if they want to work with you, how can they find you, and what's the best way? First of all, get the book.
Get the book. Yeah, the book would be great. And because, but mostly I'm at www.stefanhaves.com, STEFANHAVES.com. You can just email me there. I'm really such a flow-based dude.
Yeah.
That I don't know what I'm doing. Even the next thing I might do is do. I'm going to Vietnam and do a big circus in a theme park.
Really?
We're gonna cross it from. Yeah, we're gonna cross from athletic shows to artistic. So, and then I am the bridge. The clown's the bridge for the audience, you know. So ultimately and I do the storyline, and I bring the empathy in, so people, even with the real hardcore athletes who are in circus, they still got to be loved, and they still got to be vulnerable, and they still got to be themselves, you know. So I may do that, but ultimately I have tribes of people who like my work from everywhere, from Vegas to San Francisco to Montreal to St. John's to Toronto to Chicago to New York. So if you want to start a tribe in any town, I'll come over and I'll be of service. I don't really care about, I care about the money, but I really believe that in the hecticness and chaos that we are not, that not is in the future, but is in the present, the actual empowerment of small communities like this doing senseless acts of beauty is really a mandate which I believe in. So I will go to your town, and Facebook's a good place for me, even though but you can always contact me, and if you get a group of people, I will help you free that up, be free your souls if you can.
Do you coach people on their like one-man shows and things like that too?
Yes, I do. Yes,
This is fascinating.
I have. Yes,
All
and
right.
magicians and everybody kind of. It's a joy for me to do that.
Yeah. Charlotte Steph is now following. All right. Nice to see you, Charlotte Steph. Well, it has been great having you on the show. I didn't tell you this, but at the very end, we do a thing called the dance break. And we play a cover song from somebody on the internet. And we dance around a little bit, and then it's the end of the show. Do you have any advice for anybody out there that's just starting out in the clown world, what they should do first?
Yeah, the amazing thing is contact me would be probably one of the things. One of the hardest things is there and get the book, because basically I was an acting coach for 20 years. So I'm more interested in you as a person than as a clown. The problem is when you try to do clowning too early and that instrument of yours is not in a free place, then you're going to be doing, the problem is, and I didn't say this earlier, but the problem is clowning is reviled. It's freaking hated by a lot of.
We didn't even talk about that. Like sometimes you say like clown to somebody and they're like, "Oh, I'm so scared of clowns." I hate clowns.
Colophobia is a thing.
It's a thing.
But yeah, it is a thing. But part of the reason is culture kind of screwed it up. And that was because Shields and Yarnell, who were the best, most anarchistic mimes on the streets.
I love them, though. I love them.
They got a TV special, and you can only do so much. And people got tired of the form, and then they made fun of it in Woody Allen movies and stuff in the 70s.
The mimes and such.
And then
I never got
like
tired. Oh, yeah, John Gacy. I never got tired of Shields and Yarnell. I was just thinking about them the other day, how wonderful they were. But I mean, I was a kid. I was a kid, so I'm not
and the
gonna
technique
get
was extraordinary.
Yes.
They were otherworldly, extraordinary. But ultimately, what it comes down to is today, like I said, it is the only safe comedic art form where we do not ruffle anybody's feathers, because we are in the. I am particularly interested in the prepubescent, and there are other clown troupes that are clown teachers that do the post-pubescent or teens. So they're a little more gross. They can be like, they're knaves and I'm a fool. So there's real reasons why. I mean, this is really a nuanced art form, which I've been doing now for a long time. So what I would say is get to know yourself. And when you go to a clown class, do not start over. If you're a tap dancer, be a tap dancing clown. If you're a stand-up comedian, take what you do and make that your foundation. The worst thing I see is world-class gold medal Olympic people who then try to be actors in a clown class. No, start to use that thing. It is you. You are coming to the table with beautiful, beautiful history, and I want to see that history.
That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. Sometimes people like abandon things and then do something else. And there is not that, especially as an artist, as somebody who's creating things, you have to use everything that you've learned. You know what I mean? Like, and you know that when you stand up on stage and there's an audience there and you're forced into a situation, like, oh man, what do I know? You dig into your bag of tricks or whatever, and you have to.
Right.
And why throw it out?
So we were all perfect. Remember, we were all perfect before puberty. So all we're doing is remembering when we were intoxicatingly happy with our friends playing. And that's what makes a good comedy.
I love that. All right, dance break time. Thanks so much for being on the show. It's just been a real gift.
Okay.
Matt Wright says, wow, you start with the tools you have. Such great advice. Yeah, it is. It really is. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Hopefully, you'll share this around. Dance break time. We've got something called Liquid Chicken, playing a Stevie Wonder song.
I had moments.
Shaka Khan. This is Liquid Chicken. They have a YouTube channel called Liquid Chicken. And just play a little bit of their music here.
You ain't got no kind of feeling inside.
I think this might be a quarantine version. Check out Liquid Chicken on their channel, and join us next week on Tuesday for more lunch therapy. We'll see you then.
Tell me something good.